Oh, hi, beautiful whatnots. It is Thursday, January 2nd in Chicago, the United States and Canada, and this is a show by the name of What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. I am seated here in Chicago, Illinois. Pete Blackburn is to my left. Across the room is Sean DePaz. Hi, boys. How you doing?
Hello. I am good. How are you, Sean?
Not good.
Why?
You know why.
Let's
Oh,
talk a little ball.
Yes, let's talk a little football.
No, I don't want to talk ball.
We just watched an incredible college football playoff
Instant
game
classic.
in which Texas, oh boy,
robbed
took years
Arizona
off
State.
my life.
Robbed Arizona State. Most blatant targeting call I've seen in my entire life. Not called at the end of the game.
That was tough.
Forced the game to overtime, essentially. And then Arizona State lost in overtime.
Texas did not deserve to win. We watched the beginning of it from here, and it seemed like by the time we got where we wanted to go to actually watch the game, it was going to be for naught, and we were just going to kind of be eating naps while we knew that it would be Texas moving on. Mm-hmm. And they slaughtered Arizona State in the first half and had a 14-point lead to show for it.
First 5 minutes, really.
Yeah.
The first half, at the end of the first half, it was only 17-3.
3.
Yeah.
But it seemed like I thought that at some point it would be a game.
I didn't. Not after
No,
the first
not
5 minutes.
enough.
If you
First
thought
quarter.
if you thought it was going to be a game after the first 5 minutes, you're crazy.
I know. I said early second quarter. I said we're on could be a game watch,
yeah.
and you were
Yeah.
like, yeah, like technically by the score,
Yes.
but no.
At that point, ASU had only put up 3 points, so I was like, I don't know about all that, but you are right that the game was close.
And but Texas played with their food, let Arizona State back in the game, got beaten in the second half, and got away with a very, very, very blatant. The sound was off, so we don't know what they were saying, but we were like, that is the most clear targeting penalty. And Texas has been boned on a bunch of targeting penalties the last couple of years. So, like, that was automatic. That was coming. So, I feel bad for Arizona State. I'm a Texas fan. I want Texas to win, but Texas did not deserve to win.
No, they didn't. And I think that they truly, they are a bunch of assholes. They infuriate me because they are absolutely good enough to win the national title. And I really, really don't think that they're going to, just because they are so stupid and they can't play a full 60-minute game.
Meanwhile, their upcoming opponent, Ohio State, beat the brakes off of Oregon. So
Yeah, but Ohio State can also lose to fucking Michigan.
Ohio State's also they're the Texas of the Big Ten. They're also assholes. But hockey comparison, they did a little Conor McDavid, Conn Smythe thing, and they gave Arizona State's running back Cameron Scadaboo the MVP of the game, despite Arizona State losing. So
I will say that I usually do the, like, I love Quinn, but he's not a guy or he's not this or whatever. Like, I don't think I love Quinn Ewers.
Oh, God, you should not. I don't think you should.
I really like him, and I've always been a constant Quinn Ewers defender, and I just don't know how much I can do it anymore because...
Bring back Sam.
Bring back Sam. No, I don't want more Sam Ellinger in my life.
Hudson Card is still in college football.
Is he really? Oh,
Bring him
brother.
back.
We got eligibility.
That's unbelievable.
Real talk, Texas.
I'm a Casey Thompson guy.
Texas needs to make have a serious conversation about moving to Arch in the rest of this playoffs.
How many times can you watch the same thing play out where it's just his arm strength is not good enough, he's getting picked off, and the offense sputters out and dies, and then you let the other team back in the game?
To bring it to hockey, Mike Felger used to say about Claude Julien, I would fire him off the duck boat. Like even if they win the title this year, that guy's not my coach next season. I don't want him anymore. That's how I feel about Quinn Ewers.
I
Just
will
go to
say,
Arch.
Quinn had an incredible overtime.
Why don't you tell the folks what's on the show today, Pete?
I would love to. Today on the show, we have That's All from Illinois. This is actually a canned, banked episode. This is recorded the day before we are traveling back home. So maybe a little bit shorter, maybe not. We'll see where it goes. We're going to talk about the Hockey Person of the Year. We did this last year after Time Magazine named Taylor Swift their Person of the Year. And we decided that Matthew Tkachuk was the Hockey Person of the Year.
I think so,
in our first year doing this show. So we'll circle back on that. We'll see who the Hockey Person of the Year was in 2024. We're going to talk old news. I don't know what that is.
Old news.
Old news?
If we talk about anything, like I want to make one of them like Avalanche back, ? Avalanche about to play a game in an hour. What if they get smoked? So anything we talk about might be dated, but we might hit on a couple of things that we missed this week.
Avalanche playing in an hour?
Avalanche, yeah.
They do not play in an hour.
No, they do
There was
not.
one game today.
Devils and Kings.
Oh, Avalanche play tonight for the yeah. I made this slate. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's add Avalanche back. The Avalanche have won 5 games in a row. They might be back. That's
Okay.
Avalanche back.
Very exciting. And we've got a crazy Gretzky stat. So I'm very excited to see what that is. I don't know, but we got a great show for you.
Yeah, very exciting. Fun times in Illinois. Thank you, Chicago. We've talked about all that. Ate a bunch of stuff. Sean had his first Malort shot. How'd you like it?
It was awful. I mean, it was cool. It was awful, but it was cool. It was a very unique experience. Didn't taste like alcohol. Tasted like battery acid. But in some ways, that's better than tasting like alcohol. So it was a good experience.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, right after this, we're about to go to my favorite restaurant on the planet, Trivoli Tavern. Shout out to them. Very excited for you guys to experience Trivoli.
Terrific. I don't know if I've been there before. I thought I had, and then I described it to you, and you said, "Oh no, not that place."
No, I'm pretty confident you've never been there. You'd remember it.
I don't though. So that's a weird thing about. I used to go to Chicago way more than I go now, but I would go in Chicago and live it up and go to places and everything. But I never really like memorized any spots other than Portillo's and the Redhead Piano Bar. Usually I would just follow a Chicago person's lead. So maybe somebody has dragged me there at some point. We'll find out. Anyway, let's get into the meat of this. And as Pete said, this might be a little bit of an abbreviated episode because we do have to do a bunch of things and get out of here. If you are new to the show as a result of maybe the Gary Bettman interview or something, check out our stuff from this week in Chicago. It's been a blast. We've also got some cool stuff that'll be just up on the YouTube in the coming days, whatever. And next week, we've got some fun guests. So if this is a bit of a short one, have fun with it, but search and get other things. The Hockey Person of the Year. How do we define it? What do we think it means? Who do we think it is?
Well, I mean, I think like the Time Magazine thing, it's just kind of who is the most influential, who's like causing the most discourse, who's pushing the sport.
I think it's important that it's like last year was Taylor Swift, this year it was Donald Trump. It is not necessarily about it's not an MVP conversation.
Yeah.
It's not like the best person in hockey. It's the most important.
Not-
or sometimes collections of people, kind of like movements. They've had like a different like groups of people. I mean, one point in the early 2000s, it was just people. It was like you, us.
That was such a cop out.
Yeah.
And we weren't. I didn't feel like I had been the Time Magazine Person of the Year that year.
I think I was only getting green cards in elementary school at that point. So I think I deserved it.
Green card means
I don't know. We did like some people relate to this. We did like a red card, yellow card, green card system where like if you got in trouble, you had to flip your card to a yellow card. And if you got in real trouble, you had to flip it to a red card, and that was like
extremely Squid Game season 2.
Never
that was
did
like
this.
parents get called type of thing.
Wow.
Never got a red card in my entire life. I think I flipped to yellow like once ever. I was a very good kid, so I deserve the
Well,
Times
you also
Person
went
Award.
to school that wouldn't really just say like, "Hey, F, bad."
I didn't.
Did they still do grades?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was just like a disciplinary thing within the classroom.
I like that. I actually do like that because you're only told if you do something bad. I like that they note your student behaved well.
Well, yeah, and it's a
Or
little
your
bit of a
child
public
did.
shaming system
I was
because it's
gonna
like a
say-
wall of everyone's cards, and it was like a.
Was it like a
It
scarlet
was like
letter
the-
if you got a
yeah,
red
it was
card?
like it would be like a go flip your card.
Oh.
I never heard those words because I was a good kid.
Go
But
flip your
What was
card.
the walk to the cards like?
Yeah. Corey Perry walking out.
Yeah, it was like
classic.
a full-blown perp walk. Like, it was
Yeah,
bad.
That's
exactly.
amazing. I've come around on this. I love this.
Okay,
it was
so
cool.
if we're starting on perp walks and people who get a lot of attention, this is a very abbreviated episode because it's just Matt Rempe, open and shut. He's the person of the year, and then we're all done with this because he's both doing perp walks and he's the only person that a lot of people, Sarah Palin included, talk about. How do you feel about Matt Rempe as a submission?
I think that he's definitely a candidate. He's definitely like if you're making a short list, he's got to be on it. And
Even though
it's crazy.
Not very short.
That's true. It's crazy that he's on the list, given who his place in the hockey world. But again, like this isn't an MVP discussion. It's Matt Rempe dominated conversation for so long, for such a big portion of this year, and we're still talking about it. Sarah Palin is reigniting the Matt Rempe discourse, so he's for sure a candidate.
So that's why I feel good about Matt Rempe, thank you, Peter, as a candidate here because he made his NHL debut in February, and he got in a fight in that game, and since then, he has scored 2 goals.
That rocks.
So, I mean, I can't help but have him at the top of my list.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about him, and he only scored 2 goals.
More
And-
match penalties than goals, by the way. 2 suspensions.
Gave
But
Pete and I one of our favorite moments of the NHL playoffs last year when he just
Oh yes.
dove head first into the boards, basically.
oh,
He
my
also-
my favorite one is the thing behind the net where he just goes right past the puck, slips on his I don't even know, like the ice was water and just fell on his butt.
He also did the hot to go dance. He was kind of in the cultural zeitgeist. So yeah, I don't. He's not my leader in the clubhouse, but I would not hold it against you if that was the person you were trying to push.
I think that is where my mind went. Like we had a brief discussion about this without getting into too much detail earlier, and my mind went to Matt Rempe.
The cheat code thing that he has going is 2 things that get you discussed, right? I'll say 3, I suppose. 1, he's somebody who fights. So that means the Sarah Palins of the world are going to be tweeting about you constantly. If you're in the lineup, if you're not in the lineup, that brings me to the second thing. He's someone who's not always in the lineup, not always on the team. Every fan base complains about, why aren't you playing this guy? Why aren't you playing this young kid? Whatever. That's the third thing. He is a young guy. So all 3 of those things, and a 4th bonus one, I don't think this is the biggest thing with him, but he's a cute person.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, he's like a very
Charming.
lovable,
Yeah.
charming guy.
And I
yeah.
mean, the reality is, like, we don't do hit chat, but the NHL fandom at large certainly does, and he gives people opportunities to have hit chat. So,
Yeah,
like,
but
he's always getting talked about.
Here's my thing is I think he would have a stronger case if he played for a team that allowed him to do media. He's not allowed to do media like at all.
Oh,
and I think that
outside
hurts
of
his
like
case.
the mandated 20 minutes a day thing.
But-
Like
Right.
if like beat writers, he has to be made available to them, but
He's not doing the podcast
doesn't
circuit.
do podcasts, doesn't do any, like you don't see him on ESPN or anything like that. And I'm sure those places would love to do stuff with them. Like, has there not been
Like a feature?
like an Emily Kaplan sit down with Matt Rempe or
don't
something
think so.
before a season? Insane if there hasn't been, because ESPN wants to do that. That TNT would have Jackie Redmond. Like they're good people who are probably waiting to do that. And he plays for a team that, we talk about this a lot, doesn't let their players do podcasts or do really anything beyond what is legally required of them.
Yeah, but on the other side of that coin, is Matt Rempe the powerhouse talking point that he is if he doesn't play for the New York Rangers?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think so, because I think part of why he's such a talking point is because the Rangers have sucked a lot this year and in parts of the playoffs.
Deep playoff run, yeah.
And like we saw with Linda Cohn right last year, where there's and now Sarah Palin, where it's just like, for so many people, he's the answer to their problems, even though he's clearly not, I'll say yet, but let's be real, clearly not yet an NHL level player. So like it's like a hilarious discourse. He's just a fun character to have. Like the NHL needs to have him. Maybe not on the ice, but in the culture.
I think he's this is going to be disrespectful to Charlie Day, but like we all saw Charlie Day in It's Always Sunny, and then we saw him as like a co-star in Horrible Bosses or whatever. Are you? And there was that movie Fist Fight, so respect to that. But are you making a movie with Charlie Day as your lead, or do you want Charlie Day to be a fun part of something good and crazy? Because that's sort of, even though they look completely different, but I hope you can follow that. Like Matt Rempe is a crazy funny thing about hockey. Should that crazy funny thing about hockey be the most influential and like the biggest thing in hockey? Like, is that a good look for 2024 in hockey if the biggest thing was Matt Rempe?
Yeah, and not the person that you want a bunch of people to be looking to be like, that's the answer. That's what's like is going to solve all the problems for that team. Like, I get what you're saying. So I do think that it's probably a bad thing.
If we wanted to do a wimpy Time Magazine, you are the person of the year, we could say PWHL.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Like, can you give a league hockey person of the year?
100% think you could.
I think you could.
I definitely think you could. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because like they like changed the face of women's hockey, like hopefully, I guess permanently. But the only problem is like not a slight on them, more of a reflection of culture, I guess. Is just like I don't know how many people actually talk about them at large.
No, fair.
So like
if we're talking about like
Yeah,
large
like how
cultural
much
impact.
like what's their Q rating, it's not as big. So I think that might be like what was the biggest thing for hockey, and the biggest thing for hockey probably last year was adding a new major league.
Yeah.
Few things are ever going to be bigger than that, but
especially because women's hockey has needed like a stable league for a while now, and we've seen that like all they need is kind of like a chance and they can succeed. And the PWHL has been, I would say like a rousing success in its first year and change.
Yeah.
But like it's not a cultural phenomenon or anything like that.
right, that's the thing. Like we name PWHL, like say we did that for hockey reasons, and the way we defined like hockey person of the year was like what made the biggest impact on hockey versus like what hockey thing made the biggest impact on culture. And I think that we are in the kind of second group. If we said, okay, PWHL for the first reason I said, it would be the Time Magazine person of the year that gets accusations of like, oh, you're just doing it because you want this group to like you or to do whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that because I don't know, maybe like the whole like no publicity is bad publicity. I do think some discourse can be bad discourse.
I agree.
If like the only reason someone's talking about you is because they want to complain about like their own horrible beliefs, then it's like that's a loss for the whole conversation. So I'll say PWHL, a candidate. I would say not the winner.
Yeah,
How about
I think PWHL needs like a Caitlin Clark level superstar to elevate it to like the next level where it's like must see TV for a certain superstar.
It
I agree.
stinks that Caitlin Clark really figured it out after like a quarter of a season, because Caitlin Clark could have been an option. Just try to get Caitlin Clark to play hockey. I don't know if she would get good enough to be in the PWHL, but if every league in the world, like, what's baseball's problem? Oh, the pitch clock. Like, if MLB had Caitlin Clark,
I think it would be pretty bad for the PWHL though if like a person just decided they wanted to play hockey
Right.
and became the biggest star in the league.
LeBron could do it
in a year.
LeBron could do it.
I don't know that he could.
I have
Really?
I have a candidate that I'd love to throw out, not for this discussion, but for the person of the year. And this is like a 10% joke, 90% serious. But Tate McRae, like how many times on this show have we talked about Tate McRae? And how many times
We're all looking
has
for the
she-
guy who did this. The guys who did like
How
we've
many
chosen
times
to.
has she been within the hockey world? And
Yeah.
she is legitimately became one of the biggest superstars in all of music this year.
So I was saying like the definition can come down to like which hockey thing impacted culture the most versus like PWHL, which thing impacted hockey the most. In the case of Tate McRae, it's which thing in culture impacted hockey the most. It's a mix
Yeah.
of all those
Yeah.
things where like this is a pop culture thing where I forget who it might have been Elliot one day tweeted like everybody just a heads up, like this person's been famous for a little bit now, but if you don't know who Tate McRae is, just give it a Google now. You're going to be confused at a few points during the next few months because she's going to be performing at things. I'm sure that players are going to be doing like they're going to be taking the ice to her songs or something like Tate McRae is going to be in conversations you're having, so just know who that is.
Like every young hockey player is in love with Tate McRae. She's in goalie pads on Think Later. She performed at the NHL All-Star Game. She's making the rounds at like every NHL arena wearing the jerseys. She is at the forefront of like where hockey and culture meet.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like if it was going to be someone outside of the immediate hockey world, it is 100% Tate McCrae.
Okay, I want to be fair, just so I can suggest this, and I want both of you to just slap him down right away so we can move on to the next one. Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah. I mean, like
I would
one
just say
no.
MVP.
I mean, he's the Hart winner.
He won
Yeah.
MVP, but like that's not enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say second half of the year, maybe not as much, but maybe that's like a recency bias. Paul Maurice in the first half of the year was on a burner. He obviously led the Panthers to their first ever Stanley Cup. Again, I don't know that he has done as much this season. He hasn't been as funny. He hasn't been Johnny the Joke Man. But first half of the year, I think he was around. I was going to also say, I think Sarah Palin has a little bit of like a GNX thing going where she came a little bit too late in the year to end up in my rap.
Yeah.
But if she had been doing this all year, I think she would be very much in the conversation.
Yes, it's a perfect way.
But that's so like you got to get outside of your own world kind of thing, because think about how many times we've tried to talk about the
This
Sarah
week.
Palin thing with anybody, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
they
fair
don't
enough.
know. They don't know about that shit.
That is very fair.
They don't know ball.
How are we, the three softest lib cucks in the world, or whatever they call us now? We're going up to people like hockey people, and sometimes hockey people can maybe differ from us in politics, but like we're going up to people who might be more inclined to be like, oh yes, I actually follow Sarah Palin because I need to know what we as a country should be doing.
Yeah.
That I'm like, so how about these Sarah Palin hockey tweets?
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you ever talking about? What is that? We're like, this is the number one story in America right now, guys.
Another one that we briefly mentioned when we talked about this earlier is a guy that I think is kind of like LeBron James, where he could be at every year. Is Paul Bissonnette,
Yeah.
especially after the 1v6.
Yes.
Late push.
Yeah, strong late push. Like I would have said probably not before that, but he has kind of become a little bit of like a cult hero, even more so than he already was.
I mean, this year, we'll say, is like when an actor, let's say it's like Paul Mescal or something, and that's how his name is fucking said. If I hear people call him Paul Mezcal one more time,
it's because they like the drink.
yeah, it's different. It's spelled different. Like, how do people's brains work with... anyway.
It's a very easy mispronunciation.
Right. Anyway, like let's say it's like Paul Mescal, where like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, like I know who that guy is." I think, and then like what? Then he's in like a blockbuster movie that everybody see. Like this was that year for Paul Bissonnette. Hockey fans and online hockey fans have known Paul Bissonnette for going on, I would say, a decade at this point.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago was his first year on TNT. A lot of the kind of old heads were forced to kind of grapple with like, who's this guy? Is he like Felger would always call him? They'd be like, oh, and they're getting the Barstool guy, and I'm like, the Barstool guy. How do you not know?
He played in the
If you
NHL.
watch hockey-
NHLer.
Yeah, but no, but a lot of people they're like, oh, this is the guy who's making jokes or whatever, and then it's like actually he's kind of the guy who like really ties together a really, really good show and keeps chemistry on that thing with big personalities. Amazing. So this was, I think, the first year that everybody, whether you were new, old, whatever, got Paul Bissonnette, liked watching him, were excited about watching him.
Not everybody likes watching him. It is kind of crazy.
Which is good. I don't. I would hate for Biz for everybody to like him because I need him to beat some people up. I kid. No, just because if everybody likes you, you're boring. So apologies to Tate McCrae.
I was going to say you could also, and maybe we missed the boat on this last year because I don't think it ever came up. You could just say the NHL on TNT. Like they as a collective have, I think, pushed the game quite far in terms of being a little more culturally relevant.
Liam, stud.
Yeah.
Jackie Redmond, stud.
The great
Gretzky, like the what's that?
I said the great one.
The great, yeah. I mean, Man, do we talk about it on the show? We saw Gretzky the other day.
I don't know if we did.
No.
We saw him last
We
night.
see Gretzky walking around at these things because he's at these things, but we were leaving a hotel very late and Gretzky was getting dropped off. And even at like 1:30 in the morning or whatever it was, autograph seekers following his car.
Yeah, just
That
like
guy gets
as the
followed
car
20
pulled up, they knew who it
hate
was. It
that.
was insane. Yeah,
I
they're
would
all
lose
adults, of
my
course.
mind.
And he was very gracious about it. He just worked his way inside, but he was very kind about it. And I don't know that I would be at all times.
No,
So
definitely not.
could we give, so if we're going to give Biz his own submission, which granted, like Biz, that movie that I'm talking about, that proverbial movie that Biz does where, okay, now he's in the blockbuster and everything, that movie is a good, normal blockbuster movie. It's not going to knock your socks off until it has the final act of a lifetime. Because at the end of 2024, Biz gets in the 1v6 fight. And not only proves to be every bit the gentleman he said he was in that instance, says, quite frankly, that he would do something Sean would do, which is like, hey, I'm not out for blood with these guys. I just want their lives to be ruined.
Yep.
That's all. And I mean, wins on wins on wins for Biz.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gretzky, can we say though? Like, does he get a little? He wouldn't win, but
I mean,
just
he
Wayne
gets a
Gretzky.
late push because of Ovechkin.
Well, that's what I
honestly.
was going to say is, and it's tough because he's not going to have actually get the record in 2024.
Right.
But especially in the second half of this season, and he basically dragged the Caps to the playoffs last year, even though they disappeared once they got there. Like what he's done
Ovechkin,
in
yeah.
2024. In
I
the
mean,
2024-25
he's
season
almost,
is unreal.
He is almost a lock to be the 2025 one because
Exactly.
especially if the Caps keep this going and
Yeah.
have a decent playoff run, then he breaks the record. He's absolutely going to be 2025.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate submission, but like Johnny Gaudreau,
Yes.
is
Yeah. That was on my
absolutely
list.
On the list,
Yes.
like he's, I guess, both Gaudreau brothers. Like you could put them both on there. Obviously an unfathomable tragedy, but then the stuff after
The
it
response,
and the community kind of coming together and honoring him. Like he obviously was a massive storyline that went way outside of hockey.
yeah, I was
as
gonna say it
well.
was definitely the biggest crossover storyline. Yeah, on all three of our lists, has to be.
And I think he like, as unfortunate as the event was, it showed how beautiful the hockey community can be.
Yeah, for
and like
sure.
it brought so many people together. I mean, hasn't played in Calgary in several years, and their response to it was incredible. Obviously Columbus, but like the entire NHL, the way they responded to it, Boston College, how they responded to it, like it was, as sad as it was, like a really beautiful thing to see.
We'll get to more of these in just a sec, but today's episode is brought to you by Bauer Hockey. Nothing beats the sound of fresh steel cutting through the ice. Now, that's right, listener and watcher, subscribe. You can hear that every time after getting a fresh buzz with the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener. Perfect for all hockey players, families, or teams, this sharpener is fully automated and extremely easy to use, so you can get the perfect edge anytime, anywhere, as long as you're plugged into power. And with built-in goalie skate modes, even your tendy can stay sharp. That's important. We like edge work for our goalies. Going to talk about a goalie as one of these people of the year in just a minute. To learn more about the Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener or to see where you can find it in stores, head to bauer.com/ProSharp.
After you do that, go to ShadyRays.com because Shady Rays has you covered for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays are an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades, durable frames, crystal clear optics. They're the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures, and they have hundreds of options to choose from. You got many different styles, many different colors. You can go crazy by customizing your Shady Rays collection. We have Shady Rays. We love them. We brought them to Chicago. We wore them at the Winter Classic. It was tremendous. Could not recommend anymore, especially given their exchange policy. You can return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. And if you take an unexpected hit to your shades, they'll replace them for you as well. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays giving out their best deal of the season. Go to ShadyRays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
The goalie I was going to suggest, of course, was Pyotr Kochetkov. Really, because I just wanted to talk about on Tuesday. I don't know if you saw, he was up to his old tricks.
did
Tuesday
not.
against Columbus, you see what he did?
Nope.
First off, I mean, it was the Seth Jarvis special. Everything he tells us about why this guy rocks so much. He makes an incredible save. on with the backhand of his glove. So like sprung across, like does let's see, like does like
bitch slap to the puck?
yes, just like bitch, like right, just bitchily nice away in like a very nice motion. Not how you're supposed to make that save, but you know what? He was flip flopping around doing a little oopsie daisy. That's what we like from our Pyotr Kochetkov. We also like in the shootout, he just fucking went out and just wiped out a shooter.
Yep.
It was like puck, mine, ball.
Who was that?
I don't know who it was, but
Was it in that Columbus game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I've seen him do that to Brady before, I believe.
Oh yeah, he didn't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brady did not like it at all.
he does it. I mean, he'll be. I don't think that he wins, but he's on our list of people who impacted us in 2024.
I think
And
if we have like subgroups of like if we have like a goalie of the year, he is definitely up in that conversation. I think it's very recent. I think it's a lot of recency bias, but I think he would end up in the conversation.
Well, I think in last year's conversation we talked about like who is the big hockey person of the year in general, and like who's our hockey person of the year.
Yeah.
And I think that we were saying Zach Hyman was probably number one.
Yeah.
For us, Pyotr Kochetkov is definitely in our short list of like guys that were important to us.
yes, 100%.
no Ian Cole.
Fuck off.
I think
Could
he
be
is.
Ian Cole.
Well,
Please stop it.
Yes.
on that note, the Utah Hockey Club and Ryan Smith.
Yes, Ryan Smith.
Bringing a hockey team to Utah, as sad as it was. I mean, I think if we're
Kind of
doing
fell in his lap though.
yeah, if we're doing a collective thing, I think it's just the movement of the Coyotes to Utah. Like it is how that fell apart in Arizona, the train wreck that is Alex Morello and that ownership, and then the savior that is Ryan Smith, and how that got built up and how successful it's been in Utah, and the fact that they're like a respectable team, struggling kind of right now, but they're respectable. I think he deserves a mention at the least.
I had Bear as one of my hockey people of the year, but Bear famously, I checked, is a Bear, so Bear cannot be.
It's also the coach.
Also,
You know, but
very
I know. I was
confusing.
like, don't get it twisted. I can't think of the coach's name. Lovely.
Andre Torini.
Andre Torini. No, I'm talking about the Utah Jazz mascot. who
Respectfully, I'm
doubles.
talking about the Bear.
I'm talking. Yes. So that would be a submission for me. We did not get to one of the early ones you threw out there because it was a big on the ice, off the ice. And I thought you were going there when you said this is kind of like a LeBron type thing. Conor McDavid wins the Conn Smythe, screams at his teammates, gets married.
Yeah, I have that
Big
too.
year for him.
I mean, he was at the center of the most compelling story in hockey, which was the Edmonton Oilers, and he's the reason Chris Knobloch basically got the job that turned them around. He wins the Conn Smythe. You mentioned getting married, kind of a big story over the summer. He also was featured in the Amazon doc. Obviously Connor McDavid needs no explanation for like being one of the most important people in hockey. But I think that this was like a particularly Connor McDavid year.
Yes. Can I get? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like you could just say the 2023-24 Edmonton Oilers. Like
Yeah, we could, but then we get yelled at.
Yeah,
that's
even
true.
I would want
And
that.
also, now that I think about it, so much of that story starts with their losing streak, which was in 2023. So it's kind of hard to give them credit for
Same
that.
thing,
in
and
this
that's
year.
why. I mean, I didn't correct you when you're talking about it. I know that you know this, but when we were talking about Tate McRae and
Yeah.
you're like all the hockey impact and everything, like technically the goalie pads is a 2023 thing, and
Yeah, but like the sure tour was all through.
oh no,
2024
no,
and,
but like dominated
Yeah.
from 2024 on. All we were talking about was Tate McRae.
yeah.
But I do agree that like last year's Oilers team, if you're just like a team that had a strong second half, okay, well then why wouldn't it be the Predators or something like that? The last year's Oilers team obviously was a story that was written and carved and very heavy with a knife or fucking whatever into a tree, and we'll talk about it forever. But I would, even I as an Oilers fan would be annoyed if that won.
Yeah, and I mean it's not annoying, but it's kind of chalk. Like Matthew Tkachuk,
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk, who won it for us last year and was our inaugural hockey person of the year. Like he won the cup.
Yeah,
He won the
I mean,
cup.
yeah, you could-
He wasn't as big of like a superstar during the run and at the center of all the big moments like he was in the previous run when they lost to Vegas. But I mean, he still won the cup and then he dominated the entire summer with the celebrations.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, like, you could just like the Oilers, you could just say the Florida Panthers. Like they won in Florida, first ever Stanley Cup. Like it's a story in and of itself.
If we are to do drop down menus, right? The little arrow thing, and then there's a list below. Under the Oilers, I do have two people. One, Bob Stauffer.
That would be an R.
That's definitely an hour
category.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, like when you think of iconic photos from the year, and it is more in our world, but like the Bob Stauffer luggage pick is a visual version of we're gonna go play a hockey game and then drag them back to Alberta.
Yeah.
That like it had that like, oh, they are coming. Bob has a suitcase. I guess I always assumed he did, but for some reason, seeing Bob holding the suitcase and drag, like, that team's going to win the cup. And then the other one, I can't believe that, I don't know who I expected to say it, but the Oilers fan who bore her bazongas.
Forgot about her.
Yes.
I did forget about her.
I would say not a winner, and quite frankly, I was so freaking out about that team's run that I didn't really
have time for boobs.
Yeah, I didn't really like sink my teeth into that whole story and everything. But I know that that was a rallying
You didn't
cry.
latch on to it?
No, not for me. No, thank you. That was a rallying cry, and like every team has their like, hey, did you see this? Like that was it for the Oilers, and I think actually until Bob took that picture. And
yeah, I don't know which one came first, but yeah, it also like it was more of a moment in time.
Yeah.
With that,
and
but
that went beyond hockey.
But that I think that's credit to the Oilers girl because she like basically spurned a movement.
Dude, why did people begin doing that?
Yeah, oh yeah, there was there were UFC boobs after that. There was UFC boobs after that. There's just a lot of boobs on Twitter. So
is that why Twitter just turned into all that video was shown and people were like, this is allowed to be on Twitter? And then they were like, I got this video of, I don't know, whatever
fucked
person
my
people
algorithm
are horny
for the
about.
year.
Yeah.
It ruined my algorithm for the rest of the year.
But I like people will do like I don't know, like I think that is harmless. I like a harmless celebrity fan who, I said harmless already, but like isn't super obnoxious or like I'm thinking of like fan bases and fans of, let's say, a team that the other team that played in the Western Conference Final, where I'm like, I got no time for that guy.
Glassbanger.
Yeah, you get that guy like
also
jail.
Jail.
We've never talked about that.
We never talked
old
about
news.
it.
That's the old news. I said we were gonna hit.
I can't believe we never talked about that.
Glassbangers in jail.
Glassbanger's in jail.
Give it to me. Is just that's it?
I'll find the tweet because there was a tweet put on his Twitter from his wife, I believe.
Please tell me it was destruction of property.
No, I think it was like a DUI.
DUI situation. I think warrant out for his arrest, got bopped, and then thrown in jail. And he's like in jail for a while.
Yeah, the
He's
tweet
gonna be in
is
jail till, like, next year.
on November 3rd. So this was posted on December 12th or December 19th. On November 3rd, Nick, which is the name of the Glassbanger, was involved in a minor car accident. When the police arrived, they discovered an active warrant for a probation violation stemming from a previous DWI offense. Unaware of the warrant due to a communication breakdown caused by the unforeseen passing of his attorney, Nick was placed under arrest. He's currently serving his sentence at the Gateway Foundation Correctional Unit in Wilmer, Texas, with a scheduled release date of May 25th, 2025.
Well, that's absolutely horrible, and I hope that everybody is okay. Please, folks, do not do that. Uber.
Well, in this case, that was like the DWI is an old thing. It's a probation violation.
Oh,
in this
okay.
case, which is why he got arrested. I mean, yeah, still.
I don't want you doing none of that shit. You got me? Don't bang on glass either.
Yeah,
Obviously,
that's right.
the other stuff he's did is worse.
We gotta brace for that being a storyline if the Stars make a deep run in the playoffs.
Oh my
like
god!
The return of Glassbanger.
Jesus.
Fresh out of the clink.
Would
Oh
you
my god!
stronger than ever?
Yeah, right.
He's in there doing like the 50-cent punches.
Yeah.
The best fucking thing ever would be he gets out of the clink and the Stars like paint jail bars on the pane of glass that he sits behind.
I mean, someone's going to be photoshopping that.
Yes.
Someone's going to be photoshopping. Quickly, anybody else who not a winner, but Jacob Trouba, big story in 2024. There was the stuff with the no trade list, all that in the offseason. I thought that the way that he and the Rangers were kind of playing each other was unique and interesting as something Rangers related can get. I can only go so far with Rangers drama, but we love everybody. And then eventually ending up with the Ducks was kind of a head scratcher and a little confusing, but Jacob Trouba was frequently a talking point in 2024, so he at least deserves a little submission there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not juicy enough, but it's if he had a better personality and was allowed to do podcasts when he was on his previous team, maybe it would have it would have blown up a little bit more.
Anybody else?
Maybe like a just honorable mention, Matt Celebrini. I feel like you got to throw out the young kids whenever there's a big prospect like that.
Lindy?
No.
I mean, we did a little bit of media stuff with like Biz, but like, what about Jeff Merrick? Like that was a huge storyline and very, 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 very mysterious. And I love Merrick and glad to have him back. I don't think it's a winner, but probably a worth a mention.
Yeah.
Johnny Laz broke his first story in 2024.
That's right.
One of our personal people.
Fell in love at the Winter Classic.
Fell in love with the Winter Classic.
Tough tweet.
Well,
I love him.
Tough
tweet.
Oh, that was
in 2025. It was after midnight.
It was a 3:30 a.m. tweet.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Ineligible.
So he's got off to a hot start, though. For
Yeah.
2025.
This is
Starts
here.
in 2025.
I
yeah.
love love and I love Laz.
That's right. So we got to pick a winner.
I have a vote.
I also have a vote. Do we
haven't-
write it down or do we say it out loud? Do we?
I mean, I won't change mine based off what you say. So if we want to go
Okay,
around
so I
the room.
love this. Are you firm on yours?
I have a heavy lean on mine.
Okay. I will say, I'll just give it to Sean. Make your case. Pete, make your case. We'll see if, because maybe by the time it wraps around to me, I don't feel so strongly about one. I think that there's a short list, and I'd just like to hear cases.
I think it has to be the Gaudreau brothers. I just think that story is too, like, it was just too impactful, too much of a massive moment. And it showed like the impact that they had on their respective communities, and just the way that it brought the hockey world together, I think is something, again, as tragic as it is, something that was incredibly beautiful and something that we will hopefully, I guess, never see again. But it was just like, it is like a one of those things that you will kind of remember forever in terms of like your relationship with hockey. It's just hard for me to put really anybody above him, I guess.
Yeah,
above them.
that was my pick as well.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
if we're
easy
gonna,
then, yeah.
If we were, I was gonna say like Johnny Gaudreau, or I'd be happy to
brothers,
do the
yeah.
Gaudreau brothers. Like it's just one of those things. The year 2024, I think, is largely going to be defined by the loss of the Gaudreau brothers and everything that happened afterwards. So it's something like I think all of us are going to take to the day that we die. Like we're going to just remember where we were and a lot of these moments that came as a result of it, and the tributes and things like that. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's an easy choice.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest, because this ties into a lot of the definitions we have, because the biggest on-ice thing that happened was probably that a league was created. The biggest hockey thing that happened was the tragedy of a star in the NHL and two hockey brothers, well-known people, dying, and this being a crossover CNN, like details coming in hours and minutes and everything. Like nothing got the attention that this got, and it impacted culture, which is kind of our definition. So I think that was on my short list. And Sean, I thought that your case, and Pete, your case, very strong. Give it to those guys.
Yeah, I
think so.
100%.
Johnny and Matthew, congratulations, 2024 Hockey People of the Year. Let's get to a slate grade. There are 12 games on Thursday, January 2nd, in the United States and Canada.
I don't know what day it is. I've made mistakes here before on accident. Was genuinely thinking that tomorrow was Tuesday.
That's okay. Well, we've got the Hurricanes and the Panthers, and I know what you're thinking. And no, it is not a Gustav Forsling Bowl, because the Hurricanes waived him before he ever played a game for them.
Played for the Charlotte Checkers, though.
Tough one. I'll tell you somebody else who we're going to get to a Charlotte Checkers player in a little bit. Bruins at Rangers, also at 7 p.m. Eastern United States and Canada. What's that?
We didn't get it. Who's the Hurricanes?
I mean,
Eric
it's,
Stahlbohl.
I was going to go Dennis Seidenberg, but you want to go Anthony Stewart as well? I could give you that. Zach Dalpe. Oh, that was, yeah. So that's a Checkers player, Zach Dalpe. So he's in there. You could also go Sergei Samsonov if you want.
Oh wow, yeah.
Want to get media? Want to do a media person? Kevin Weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Bruins at Rangers, 7 p.m. For Pete, we will do a Rick Nash Bowl.
Hell yeah, brother.
The Wild at the Capitals, a Darcy Kemper Bowl, a Marcus Johansson Bowl, a Jose Theodore Bowl, and a Matt Cook Bowl.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Boo.
Oh, what did he ever
Trash.
do to you? What did he ever do to your head, buddy? That wasn't even your head. Get over it. Red Wings at the Blue Jackets at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is a Sergei Fedorov Bowl from Sergei Samsonov to Sergei Fedorov. And at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Maple Leafs at Islanders I never even think with this one. I just say John Tavares Bowl and move on. That's kind of lame on my part. The Senators will visit the Stars at 8 p.m. in a Jason Spezza Bowl. Also a Sergei Gonchar Bowl. A lot of Sergeys, huh? We've got Sergei Fedorov, Sergei Samsonov, and now Sergei Gonchar. The Ducks at the Jets in a someone's ears were ringing. Were their ears burn or ring?
Depends. I
Ring.
mean, they can do both.
Can you wiggle your ears?
Yes, I can.
Damn, this is a podcast that can wiggle your ears. Compete, can you?
No, I cannot.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay, it's a Jacob Trouba Bowl. The Ducks at the Jets. Hockey Club. No, let's do Sabres at Avalanche, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Sabres at Avalanche at 9 p.m. And please, Sean, let me know if any of these are NHL Network. I'm looking, and they are not.
Nope.
We are good. Folks, you can watch hockey tonight. You are safe. Sabres at Avalanche at 9 p.m. and a Ryan O'Reilly Bowl, of course. Hockey Club at the Flames. Can you give me one, Pete?
I
Sean,
cannot.
could you give me one?
Ian Cole?
No.
No.
Oh, damn.
I think there's only one.
Oh,
He's gonna get it.
is Michael Kessler?
No.
Fuck. I know.
I can give you the position.
Yeah.
Defense.
Yeah. Yusuf Al-Maki?
Yes!
Wow.
Sean!
Yeah.
Good for you.
God,
Hell yeah.
he's so good at the Hockey Club Bowls. Unbelievable. The Flyers will visit the Golden Knights at 10 p.m. in a Nolan Patrick Bowl.
that's right,
Is that what you were
baby.
gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nolan Patrick. Also, I believe a Nick Cousins Bowl. Can we get there? Flyers at Golden Knights, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Did Nick Cousins pay for the Golden Knights?
Yeah. Right? Let's see. Can we get a...
Number crunch.
Let's get a hockey DP. Who's going to get there first? Yes. 7 games.
Wow. Wow. That's
2019-2020 season.
It doesn't even show if you type in Nick Cousins on Google. And
Yeah,
then
it doesn't
look at
give
his
you that.
dates joined. It doesn't give you the Golden Knights.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so that is that. We're not done.
What a pull.
Yeah. And should we wrap it up? This is a good one. Canucks at Kraken. That's another one with a short list, but there are some fun ones on there. You give me any? There's only one that I jumped on, and then I looked up if there were more, and there were a couple more.
I cannot think of any off the top of my head.
This is a person who was a submission for the 2024 postseason player of the year in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs, and I believe game 2 at the end of a game.
I don't know what that fucking.
You don't remember that?
Crazy.
You don't remember that?
No.
A good player in the NHL was like being a little pissy. So this player cross-checked him in the head. And we were like, can't cross-check
Yeah,
that guy. Enjoy your suspension, bud.
Carson Soucy?
Carson Soucy.
Yeah,
Remember
wow.
that when Carson Soucy
Yes.
cross-checked Conor McDavid? We were like, well, that guy's out of the league. Sorry.
That was hilarious.
Also a Daniel Sprong Bowl and a Derek Pouliot Bowl. I believe there are others, but let's take it home at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I love a 10:30 p.m. It's always either a Kings or a Sharks game that takes us home. Lightning at Sharks, we know that, of course, as an Anthony Duclair Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That seems like the peak Anthony Duclair Bowl.
An Evgeny Nabokov Bowl?
Oh, I think so, right?
I think
He's
so,
on
right?
Google players who played for, or you could also just Google Nabokov.
Yeah, first 2 Google image search results, Sharks and Lightning.
I don't want to get carried. Like, this should be the show.
I mean, most days it is.
It should just be like in my thought process, as I said, this should be the show. I was going to say, I'm starting to like doing the bowl thing more than I like doing the actual grade, and then I was like, I'm starting to like doing the bowl thing more than I like doing
the
like
show.
the interviews, and, like doing.
I mean, that's the peak, like dudes being dudes, like sitting around naming random hockey players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and matching them to teams.
Yeah.
Come on. Remembering their suspensions. Oh yeah.
My favorite part is that this is just not like an inventive idea. This is just puck doku or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
it's immaculate grid. Yeah.
I did
Yes.
think about. It was too late, But I did think about making a Slate grade game. All you need is just like the team logos on cards, and like each person draws a card. You like flip them, and then you're like, damn, Kraken at Golden Knights. We've already got Sabres at Penguins, and like somehow it gets.
You could also have players in the mix there too.
Right.
Where if you draw a player, you have to wait until you acquire the teams and like throw down 3.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm probably speaking for a lot of listeners. I have no idea what you guys are trying to explain. I'm completely lost.
So
fine, we don't know what we were doing.
Imagine a deck of cards. It has
Yes.
all 32 NHL
Yes.
teams, or plus some older ones. You also have players in the mix there, and like you're drawing a hand of cards, and you want to get rid of them all, but you have to put down at least 3. So you have 2 teams and a player. So say you had Evgeny Nabokov in your hand. You also have the Sharks and the Lightning, and if you have all 3 of them, you can get rid of
like
them,
rummy.
throw them, and throw them down.
It's like rummy.
I like,
you know what I'm saying?
I like this.
This could be a fun idea.
And we would call it Slate grade the game, and there would be no grading part. You would not do that stuff. It was mainly just to do hey, these guys played for the same team, and you throw them down. And again, now that this is just exactly immaculate grid.
Yes, mixed with like Uno.
It's printed out immaculate grid. Something that already exists and is on your phone. We're like, no. But what if you could go to the store, buy it, and then that shit is in your house?
But then if you like put down, like say you have Panthers and Hurricanes, and you put down a Gustav Forsling, you got to draw like 5 cards.
Oh, I was gonna say like Sean eliminated.
Oh, that's
You ever watch like Squid Game?
No, I have not.
We
know you have.
That would not have. I've been chipping away at Squid Game all
The
week.
most psychotic
in like
behavior.
3-minute increments.
Like
We
elevator
took
rides.
an Uber ride, and he was watching Squid Game in the back for like 4 minutes.
Were you watching
before-
Squid Games at one point during the Texas game?
Yes, I did. Yes, I slunk
Insanity.
down.
I looked over and I saw
slunk
the
down,
earbuds in. I was like,
popped
what is
them in.
going on?
I did. It was a commercial.
crazy.
Conversation wasn't hitting. I just slunk down, and I think you were in the bathroom. I was like, I can do like 3 minutes right now. No one's gonna talk to me.
You know, this is not related to anything at all. You know what Evan Sporer just reminded me of on Twitter?
what?
The guy who spilled champagne all over me last night.
Tell the story.
Oh my god,
Dude, we had the most insane waiter at the hotel that we were at last night. Don't understand him at all. Most straight face, no emotion man
King.
I've ever seen. And at one point, getting closer to midnight, he comes around with like little hats,
Yeah.
just for our table, basically.
and aggressively put them on us.
Just put them on. No,
Forcefully put
no
hats on
emotion.
us.
Didn't ask consent. Just
No.
put them on our heads, and
he
we were
did-
like,
he put it on me from behind.
Get it from the back.
He hit it from the back aggressively.
crazy. And then later on, came by with a tray of champagne, little flutes of champagne, was putting them down, knocked one over, just like on me,
All
like,
over you.
on my phone, on my hands, on my pants.
Put yourself on camera if you can.
I can't.
Oh, God damn it.
No reaction.
Didn't acknowledge it in the slightest.
Did not
Finished
say
putting-
oops. Did
Didn't
not say-
any. Didn't even look at me. Spilled it all over the place. Just kept on handing out the rest of the champagne. And then like a couple minutes later, he came back with a bunch of napkins and cleaned it up without acknowledging us or it, and then fucked off.
In those 2 minutes, we were positive. We were like, somehow he doesn't know that he did that.
Or he does, and he's just a fuck you.
Yeah.
You clean it up.
Yeah. And by the time
We had
I don't
no
know,
idea
The
if he was
first
coming
minute,
back.
we were like, he didn't
gonna-
know he did that. And
Yeah.
then like after a minute, we were like, he has had some bit of an energy about him. Did he grab any of the rest of your heads and put crowns on them?
And then the best part about this is like at 12:04.
Oh, brother.
after midnight, have big celebration. About 12:04, this guy walks around the bar, stomping on balloons and popping balloons.
There was like 10 of them, and they were little kids playing with them, like right in front
They
of him.
were
And he
in
was
use.
just like, "Hey, kid, go fuck yourself!" Bang.
just walking around,
I
stomping on
like yelled
balloons.
out. I was like, oh, "This is America!"
Can't be making loud popping noises
Yes,
like that.
we're in a major city in America where we were watching the news at the time. Do you remember what
Yeah.
the news story was? It was like some places are ramping up security for a big event. We were like,
I'll be honest,
would
it
think
did not startle me at all. Like I didn't. It didn't. I was just so blown away that he was just like, "Yeah, New Year's it was midnight. It's not midnight anymore." wrap this shit up.
The energy was crazy.
It was the most insane thing ever, but I cannot help but respect it.
He was a legend.
Early start to 2025 Hockey Person of the Year. That absolute maniac.
Yes.
Love him.
Him and Johnny Laz.
Okay,
Yes.
the slate gets an A-. Would love if anybody's watching on YouTube to subscribe. And Pete, could you tell them to...
Hit that like button, please. It's a thumbs up button. Looks like a thumb on a hand right below the video player. Yes. Hammer that like button for the like spike and also subscribe to the channel if you have not. We would like to do big things with big numbers in 2025, so please help us do that.
And the crazy Wayne Gretzky stat is he scored 100 goals in a game.
See you tomorrow. No, we won't. See you Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.